Let's just walk, I asked the other guys this too, but can you walk us through the timeline of when you decided to go in the portal and then what stood out about Florida State? How quickly did you choose Florida State? What made Florida State the choice for you?
I decided I wanted to transfer the day after the bowl game on December 28th. Was going back and forth a little bit with compliance, trying to get my name in the portal. I officially got in January 2nd. And when you got film, like I transferred twice, but this time around when you got film, you actually played. It goes crazy. So on January 2nd, I was getting contacted by a bunch of schools, but I think it was easy for me to narrow down like the schools that I was really interested in. About like January 4th, I took 2 visits. I took a visit to Auburn, then I took a visit here, and then a couple other schools came in the picture, but I knew my timeline was wanting to be at a place before spring ball, before winter workouts. So it was easy for me, like talking to my parents and doing my own research. Like I always look up a coach's tree, see what coaches have been under them, see who coaches have developed from a position, coordinator, and head coach standpoint. So I took the visit to Auburn, I took the visit here, and it was a hard decision. And then I committed, I think about 3 or 4 days after my visit. The decision between here and Auburn, it was extremely difficult because Auburn, their D-line coach was great. They got 2 D-line coaches, something that I really wanted. I think for me coming to Florida State, it was more like a off-the-field standpoint or what made Florida State stand out more above Auburn. I think there would be a great program, but I thought Florida State was the better fit for me and becoming the man and player that I want to be.
Chris, up front.
What do you like about the coaching staff here, specifically the defensive line coaches, and where do you think you fit in on D-line here?
I'll probably be playing defensive end, so Coach JP be my primary coach, but I'll also work with Coach Odell Higgins a lot. The biggest thing that stood out to me was like with Coach Higgins, 95% of the D linemen that have come through Florida State, he's touched. He's developed, and a lot of those guys in the league, I know their names, I know what they do, and he played a big part in developing them. Coach JP is unbelievable, what he's done with Jermaine and Jared Verse the past 2 years, and even a guy like Pat who's came here, those 3 guys, seeing what Coach JP did with the 3 of them, I feel like he can turn me into a beast on the field. So the 2 of those combined is really what just – I knew coming here I could become a first rounder. I knew I could become I can have a key role in the NFL and have a long career, and I felt like those 2 can set me up for things that I can't even imagine.
Yeah, you mentioned your Jared Verse and Patrick Payton, some of those players. Have you talked to them much about, like on your visits, did you talk to them about like what you can get out of Florida State? Like, was that part of your process as well?
Yeah, I think so. On my visit, I spent a lot of time with Coach Norvell, and so I think for me the biggest things that stood out was Coach Norvell asked me what I wanted to be, and I told him straight up like I want to be one of the best defensive players in college football by the time I'm done playing, and he told me he would push me to that every day. Coach Storm and his strength staff, they just showed me like what they've done with a lot of the transfers who came in, how they changed their bodies, and even guys who played for them, how they changed their bodies and helped those guys become the best athlete and best version of themselves. That's what stood out to me. From a position standpoint, watching the way that the defensive line here plays the run and plays the pass rush was a big thing. Just watching how Coach JP and Coach Hagan set up the guys that have one-on-ones and to be dominant versus the run. And then really a huge piece was Coach Fuller. When I first got here, me and him, we sat down and talked, and you could just see the love that he has for Florida State, the love he has for this place. I'm a guy, I love ball. I'm a junkie for football, and Coach Fuller and everyone on the staff is the same way. So for me, I just gravitated to the way they act, and I know what they want to accomplish here. I feel like I can reach all my individual goals, but I also want to win a national championship. I won a state championship in high school, and I want to win a national championship in college, and I feel like Florida State is a place I can do that at.
Jordan?
Can you talk about the decision to play defensive end and kind of how your versatility can impact the game?
I played defensive end my whole life. That's what I played at my last 2 schools. Coming here, that was the understanding that I play defensive end. For me, it's just leaning up. I'm trying to get to a good weight by spring ball, leaning up, becoming a better athlete. I think the position versatility for me is more so just I want to be a guy who can stay on the field as much as possible, can be a mismatch for offensive lines and opposing offenses. And then also in the league, I feel like if you can have versatility, you got more value to yourself as a player. So it was never really a question for me. Obviously, I primarily want to play defensive end, and that's what I'm coming here to do, but also to be able to go inside from time to time is something I take like big pride in.
Tomiwa, what are some of the goals that you do have physically in the weight room that you've talked to Coach Storms about, and what's some of the plans that they have for you in terms of trying to develop your body?
I think it comes back to just becoming an overall better athlete and better all defensive lineman. From a speed standpoint, we've been doing a lot of speed training. That's something that I felt like when I left Kentucky, I always told people I left there too soon. So coming here, it felt like everything that I wanted in a program on the field and off the field since high school, everything that I wanted here, they had it. And that's why it was a no-brainer for me to come here. And in the weight room, I work with Coach Storm and Coach Coleman and the rest of the strength staff a lot. And they've been pushing me, whether it's like explosive lifts like cleaning and pulling. We squat a lot, we bench. And then, like I said, on the field, we do a lot of change of direction. We do a lot of speed work. And I feel as I lean out my body, change up what I eat, and become more muscle mass but drop my body weight, I feel like I can become a freak on the field. There's a lot of things that I felt I did good at or I can move or I move well at, but I feel like as I train, and I'm buying into the weight room and the philosophy here, but as I like buy more into it and then keep excelling it, I feel like my body and the player I'll become is something that like I won't expect, but I know it would be good for me.
Corey?
Were you born and raised in Philly? Did you grow up in Philly?
So I was born in Philly, then I moved to Delaware about like 12. So I always tell people I'm just from Middletown, Delaware. That's where all my friends is from. I got immediate family both in Philly and Delaware.
Where did the love of football come from? I was asking, like, are you an Eagles fan? Are you an NFL fan, a college football fan? Where did that love come from?
I would just say football is the one sport where I always felt like I could be one of the best at. Like, obviously, I played basketball, and basketball is fun for me. Like, I enjoy watching basketball. Even to this day, I still always watch basketball. But for me, football was the one sport where I felt like amongst my peers I could be dominant in. Football was – I played it in 5th grade. I stopped in middle school to play basketball and picked it back up in high school. And the love just never, like, changed. For me, it's like I had fun with it. Football is an escape, like, from whatever you got going on in life. And it's done so many things for me. It's created so many relationships, like, with friends that I would never thought I'd have. Like, I would never imagine myself coming to Florida State. I got friends from high school that I talk to every day that, like, I'll be in those guys' weddings, they'll be in my weddings. So football for me, the love, it's still growing, I'll say that. The love is really important to me just because I'm making relationships that I never thought I would have between myself, between the coaches, and even, like, making, like, relationships with people in the community.
Was it an easy sell to your family to want to play football? Did they think like you wanted to play soccer? Like, how did it go over with mom and dad when you told me you wanted to play football?
My dad and my stepmom really didn't have like too big of an issue with it. They just wanted to make sure like I stayed on top of my academics. My mom is the same way, so she was big on like the academics gotta like they can't take no back step to football. I think the biggest thing between my three parents was they just get nervous about, I guess, like playing in the trenches, making sure I don't get hurt and stuff like that. But, I mean, I play defense. I like defense more than offense. I like being more the hitter instead of the guy being hit. So it wasn't that bad of a sell to show them. I think once they realized that it was something I was willing to take serious about it, all my parents bought in and provided me with everything I needed to be successful in the sport.
Corey?
You seem, first time meeting you, obviously, you seem like a pretty no-nonsense guy that knows what he wants, has goals. You've already talked about being an NFL player, a first-round pick. You have to have a lot of self-belief and confidence to talk like that. Where did that come from? Has that always been you? Is it something you had to learn as you got older to have that kind of confidence and self-belief?
It's always been me to have, like, confidence and to believe in myself. I think it's coming from, like, you're around guys that you feel like you can compete with. I think it goes back to, like, when you go to, like, rivals camps, we watch guys film and stuff like that. I didn't get recruited until my junior year, but I always knew when I had the opportunity that I can be just as good as other guys. When you get to college, your confidence gets tested. There was times my freshman year at Kentucky where I wondered if I'll be good enough to play college football. It was times where it was like, you hear people say so much about potential, but when you're not playing, and I don't get jealous or envious of none of my brothers. Like, a lot of those guys at Kentucky that had success as freshmen, I talk to them all the time. Like, those are my brothers. But it's hard to, like, watch those guys go out there and play. And all the guys that I'm close with at Kentucky, they played well as freshmen. Like, they were freshman All-Americans. So it's hard, like, when you're watching that, your confidence, it gets tested. But I think for me, playing at West Virginia, I felt like that I played pretty well. And I felt like with more snaps, that I can be better, and I felt like just going somewhere where I feel like I could grow some more. I feel like I could reach my ability. So for me, confidence has never really been wavered. It's been tested at times, But I've always had the utmost confidence in myself.
Chris?
As someone with experience with Coach Stoops, Coach Brown, what was your first impression when you met Coach Norvell and got to know him a little bit?
I want to say that because I don't want to like say it like I'm talking bad on them because I don't have nothing bad to say about those guys. Those are two excellent head coaches, and I'm appreciative that both of them let me in their programs. Obviously, my first impression of Coach Norvell is he's the same guy every day, and that's what I truly appreciate. You want to go play for a coach, and I'm not saying like Coach Stoops and Coach Brown weren't because they were the same people every day, but you want to play for a head coach, in my opinion, that's the same guy 24/7. When he's recruiting you, when he's coaching you, you want to make sure you're playing for that same guy. Like Coach Norvell, he doesn't like he won't take anything less than your best. That's one of the things he told me on my visit. And I feel like coming here, it'll make me uncomfortable in a lot of situations in terms of the workouts. They'll be tough, practice will be tough, but I know it'll prepare me for a better stage in life. Like obviously, I'm 19, like I'm still growing and things of that nature. And I know it'll be like tough battles while I'm here, but I feel like Coach Norvell and his staff that he put together, like they'll take care of me. Coach Norvell, I feel like he cares about this program. He looks at us like we were his kids. I think he cares about the biggest thing to me that really stands out about Coach Norvell is he cares about us more than just football players. And that's what stood out to me the most about him is he doesn't do this, I don't think, just to coach football. He does this because he wants to impact lives.
Anything else for Tomiwa? All right, thanks.
All right, appreciate it.